I want to answer a couple of questions today, and the first one was how to be competitive in a multiple offer market. I got a couple of points for you there. And number two is firm offers. Are they a really good idea for you? There's a couple of points there I'm going to make as well. So let's get right into this. My name's Sean Hartley. I'm with Remax Team Gemini in Burlington, Ontario here. I'm a realtor for about 7 years now. And I think a lot of the questions that I get from people, if you think you can solve it yourself, great, fantastic. But if you're really not sure and you'd like a second opinion, I'm always here to listen to your questions. I do real estate all day, every day, so don't be afraid to reach out to me. Contact anytime. I'm happy to chat with you. You are never wasting my time chatting about real estate. It's what I do. So anyway, let's get right into it. How to be successful in a competitive market. So what's the first thing you're going to do as a buyer, knowing that you're going to be competing with, possibly 3 or 4 other offers? How are you going to set yourself up? So point number one, get your ducks in a row. I know it sounds kind of backwards, or well, maybe not backwards, but common sense. But really, I'm absolutely serious about this. Get your financing absolutely solid. Not just go online and type into some bank website and punch in your numbers and they spit out, oh yeah, you're probably good for this much. That's not going to cut it, okay? In multiple offer scenario, you need to have the confidence that you can buy pretty much no matter what, all right? So you want to go to the bank, you want to talk to your mortgage broker or your bank representative, whoever that is, and get them to do a proper pre-approval for you. So that means taking all of your information, taking your credit history, your bank, your job letters, your pay stubs. I mean, all that documentation should be going out. Chances are, if they're not asking for that, you're not getting an actual pre-approval. You're just getting preliminary budget to work with. So make sure your broker does the work, puts in the time for you, and goes through all of your documentation and pops out with a solid number. Now, that means you're approved. So keep that in mind. A lender also has to approve the home that you're going to be purchasing. So this is where the conundrum usually comes in, all right? So we'll get to that when I talk about firm offers. But first of all, get all your ducks in a row. So get your financing absolutely solid. Get any insurance that you're going to need for properties. Give them a call, talk to them. If you're a first-time buyer and you need help with that, feel free to reach out to me. I can forward you to a few, more insurance brokers to give you an idea what I've got mortgage stuck on my mind today. What insurance coverage is going to run, how much it's going to cost per property, things like that. Okay, so get your financing solid, get some insurance ideas on how much it may cost you for that property. And the third one may seem odd, but really start researching what you like. Because let's face it, if a home is going to sell in 8 days, 7 days, 6 days, you don't have a lot of time to fiddle around looking at this online and then, oh, I don't know, do we maybe like it? Do we not like it? Well, let's go take a look at it. Well, maybe we'll do that on Friday. I'm really not sure. And then you go out and look at it, it's gone already. That doesn't serve anybody, does it? Right? So figure out exactly what you like. So that means going through lots of houses online, even if they're sold. Just go through them and make sure that the features that you're seeing, I really like that. Oh, look at this kitchen. That's what I want. Or look at the yard. Oh, that's absolutely fantastic. Oh, I need a 2-car garage, not a 1. Really hammer down, get pen and paper, and write down what you absolutely want in your next home. This way, when I'm doing a search for you and I'm sending you a property, you can quickly go through it and put it on your short list and say, Sean, this is awesome. We really want to go see this. It just hit the market. Let's go see it now. We think it's, say 90% of what we're looking for, right? So that other 10%, you're going to obviously have to go in there and take a look at it. And we do have procedures in place for you to do that post-COVID or in middle of COVID, if you still want to call it. So talk to me about that. I'll do a different video for that one, so I won't get into it today. But we do have you fully safe and secured entering into other people's homes, and the sellers understand we're keeping them safe as well. So no big deal there. So make sure you know what you want, okay? That way when you see the property, you don't hesitate, you jump on it and make a decision. Because the reason why a lot of buyers are getting frustrated is they're unable to make a decision based on our virtual tools. So you need to use all those. We have the 3D Matterport tours. You can go through the entire house as if you're there. We have the full video slideshows. We have the pictures. Then you have the text that's actually describing the home. things like that. Go onto Google Maps, pull up the neighborhood, check it out. Hell, get in your car. I'm not suggesting you out and drive around right now since we're in lockdown. Don't leave your house unless you have to. But once that's lifted, I would suggest trying to drive around the neighborhood, drive by the house, take a look at it sooner than later, because chances are in the next 3 or 4 days it's going to be gone, or the offers are coming in shortly, and you need to make a decision. So you need to move on it. Unfortunately, it requires action. So get out there, get looking at things, look online, figure out what you want. All right. So the 3 points. So first point is get all your ducks in a row. Make sure your financing is looked after. Make sure your insurance is kind of somewhat set up, or at least you have a quote. And 3, know what you're looking for so you can jump on it as soon as you see it. All right. So the second part of being successful in a competitive market is your mindset. Okay. This isn't just let's go look at some houses and we'll get one when we look at it. In a competitive market, the 2 biggest factors you need to keep in mind is, 1, you may not get every home that you look at. Okay, that's just how it is. There are people out there that are willing to pay way over asking just to get what they want. All right, so keep your emotions in check. All right, and number 2, there's always going to be more listings. You will never run out. In the history of real estate, we have never run out of listings. Okay, so there's always going to be more coming. So just because you look at a home and some other buyer goes crazy and overpays for it, fine, let it go. Rework your mindset as woosah, we'll find something else. It's no problem. We're listing all the time. Our brokerage alone is listing 120 properties a week. So guess what? Another one's going to come up. You just got to be patience and time. All right. To quote from War and Peace, patience and time are the 2 greatest warriors. Actually, I said it wrong. The 2 most powerful warriors are patience and time. I actually have it on my wall up here. So I couldn't actually remember what it was. So patience and time. So keep in mind, be patient, find the property you're looking for, and as long as you do that, over time, you will be successful. You will find the home you're looking for. All right, so I'm going to get into part 2, firm offers. This is such a contention. I actually had a full debate this past week with a few members of a group that I'm in regarding firm offers, multiple offers. How do you deal with these things? All right, so first of all, conditions in offers are not a bad thing. And I want to put that to rest right now. A condition is put in an offer to give the buyer time to do their diligence, to ensure a smooth closing. Okay, you want the property to close. The seller wants this house to close on time. They want to get their money. They want the lawyers to be happy, and they want the buyers to move in. Right? The sellers move out and go on to their next home, and they're happy. So conditions are put in to protect the buyer, believe it or not, and the seller. All right. So when you put a condition of financing in an offer, it gives the buyer time to ensure that they can secure the funds to pay for the property and close on time. For the seller, that means you've given the buyer time to do their diligence, which in turn gives the seller confidence that this buyer is going to close on time. All right. Home inspection, exactly the same thing. It gives the buyer time to go through the home to make sure that they agree with everything, the condition the home is in. They understand that any deficiencies that are in the home, they've gone through it. There are no major obstacles to stop them from buying the home. The seller should be happy about that because now the buyer has had time to rule out any reason that they shouldn't close this property. All right, so if you remove those 2 conditions and come in firm, so let's suppose you do that. You come in absolutely firm, here's my deposit, here's the offer, the seller loves the price, it's fantastic. You come in 0 offer, 0 conditions, right? 2 weeks later, you're in the house for a visitation and you notice that, well, the roof is actually totally shot. Geez, okay, and there's 2 cracks in the basement foundation you didn't notice when you went through the house before because you were in a hurry, because you want to get the offer in, right? Now what? Well, the risk of that deal falling apart or having complications now goes up quite a bit, doesn't it? Now the buyer is anxious, whether or not what did they get themselves into? How much is it going to cost to fix this stuff? I have no idea now because they didn't have a home inspection. All right. And if we look at this from the financing side, all right, let's suppose you go in firm again. Here's my deposit. Oh, fantastic. Everybody's all happy. You don't come in with a financing condition at all. right? So the seller thinks, awesome, buyers have got to buy it no matter what. Oh yeah, right. Okay, a buyer can back out of a deal. And yes, they can be sued for it. But does a seller really want to go through that process? I mean, really? It's going to hold up your plan, the seller's plans, as well as beat on the buyer. Like, nobody wants to get into that situation, right? So, as I said, in competing offers and getting your ducks in a row, getting your financing absolutely solid, which means approving the buyer and the buyer's lender approving the property is more important than anything. So if you come in firm with zero conditions and 2 weeks later the lender calls you up and says, hey, listen, we had a look at the property, we pulled up the MLS listing, and it seems like it's it's got X, Y, and Z going on with it, and we can't fund this property. It happens. I'm dead serious. I've watched it happen. I had a buyer buying a house in the country, and it had a horse barn on it to have a couple of horses. Wasn't a farm at all. All right. In the listing it said, could be great hobby farm. Could be. Didn't say it was. Could be. The lender refuses to fund farms or hobby farms. My buyer didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that they would discriminate against a hobby farm. It was in the listing. So because it was on the MLS listing, the lender went and pulled it up and looked at it and immediately killed the deal. That's it. Done. So literally we had to go back and convince the lender that the property is not being used as a farm. It just happens to have a barn on it that you could keep a horse in if you want to. It took 2 weeks to get this sorted out, or my buyer would have lost their financing. And they had already, actually no, they hadn't firmed up yet. So fortunately we extended it and they sorted this out. But something as simple as the words hobby farm in the MLS listing killed some of the chances of my buyer closing this deal. So if you think a property can't fall apart because you went in firm and it looks like a normal house, please think twice, okay? There's all kinds of things that lenders have rules and criteria when they're lending, and you never know when one of those weird little things is going to show up and just cause absolute mayhem for you. All right, so pre-approval for you, pre-approval for the property. So coming in firm with zero conditions, including financing, you better be paying cash. And I mean writing a check, not bringing a suitcase. You might get in trouble for that. So especially considering the price of most houses now, Burlington is about almost $1 million, so that's a big suitcase. But anyway, so always keep in mind that if you're coming in firm, everybody's at risk, okay? Not just the buyer, the seller is at risk of increasing the chances this deal will not go through. So unless the buyer is so solid, they're paying cash, maybe, if that's the deal, then you may not have anything to worry about. Or it's a newer home and the buyer's gone through it, maybe he's a contractor. Maybe he's gone through it and said, you know what, I'm satisfied with this house. Fine, okay? So there's nothing really wrong with a firm offer. I just want to point it out to you that there are risks that get added to a transaction that both sides are only thinking about themselves. The seller doesn't want conditions because it means it's a firm offer, but he doesn't realize that it's putting the deal at risk because the buyer didn't have a chance to do their homework. All right? And the buyer doesn't want to come in firm simply because it puts them at risk because they didn't get to do their homework. So just keep that in mind. I don't know what happened to my screen. It totally blanked out. Frames are being dropped. I don't have resources. Whatever. Anyway, so we're going to wrap this up. So understand the risks involved with firm offers. Understand that you need to do your own diligence and get your ducks in a row when in a competing market. I'm going to wrap this up because apparently my computer is doing something weird. So find out as much information as you can to make an informed decision. And if that decision means you want to go in firm, then that's entirely up to you. But at least understand the risks involved so you can compete in this market. Once again, my phone number, 289-237-7101. I would love to chat with you anytime about real estate. This is what I do all day, every day. So if I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to somebody else. So I'm Sean Hartley, RE/MAX, Team Gemini. Have an awesome day.